Hey, welcome to the St. Louis Syndicate. I'm Nate, that's Brandon, and we're here with our College Football 12. We're getting nearer and nearer every week to who's going to be in the top 12, and man, there's some changes going on. Brandon, how do you think last week went for college picks?
Man, that was some exciting stuff that went on Saturday. Really blew out Sunday by comparison. These guys know how to put together a day of football, and it gets nothing but better this week.
It's so fun to watch just the college kids. They just care. And every week in and week out, I mean, it's something awesome. I mean, there's storylines all over the place. Just look at Texas last week, right? They don't even know how to handle their own storyline. They put Quinn Ewers on the bench. Now the news is saying he's going to retire. All they had to do is say these were pre-programmed plays we designed for Arch, and we put Quinn back in. Quit asking questions. Quinn's our man. Everybody would be happy.
Right.
No, can't do it.
No, no, yeah. And when I don't know that it seems like the difference for me is when when something gets screwed up or somebody doesn't play well or whatever, somebody muffs a punt. You just go, it's kids. They're learning. That's the chaos of betting on college sports and like why the lines move as much as they do. And then you sit there all day Sunday and just watch a bunch of grown people who can't handle their job. And you just go, man, what in the hell is going on here? And yeah, it's just it's quite refreshing to just get Saturday to relax and watch some people play their heart out.
It's such a more fun game on Saturday, and then Sunday's business. And I think that's really as betters. That's kind of how we do it, right? I kind
Sure.
of bet for fun on Saturday, right? And it reminds me of like when I was a kid and I would get the local bookie to carry my $25 bet. I'd be, oh, I don't want to lose my $25, and then
Right.
juice and all this shit. But at the end of the day, it was so much fun. It was exciting. And college football can kind of be that way. With the pros, it's so methodical right now. I mean, you and I talk about it, right? I don't get the same juice out of going, ooh, it's 3.5 for the Ravens and the Steelers. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But Vandy plus 19, or taking a look at Navy, Notre Dame. I'm going, look at the disrespect. Navy's gonna be pissed. They play Notre Dame tough every year. So
Right.
it's just it gives you a little bit more of a man. That's fun, and there's nothing better that either. And you and I need to plan a trip too, one of these Saturdays, and just go up to like the local sports bar and just sit with like 12 screens on and just drink until the beginning game starts and the end game ends, and see who
Oh yeah.
last man standing kind of thing.
No, that because it's like every game is fun.
Yeah,
Like until they get out of hand, right? You have stuff like Indiana did to Nebraska last week, where you go like, all right, I get that off the quad box. Like
yeah, but you just move it
they
because there's
proved
another
their
one that's
point.
good.
But you go, before the game starts, you go, I don't know, maybe Nebraska shows up,
Yeah,
does some stuff.
yeah,
But, you do have certain games that you go, okay, that one can be down regulated off the big TV. But these long odds, like this is going to be exciting stuff, assuming that the favorites will just come out and just rout these guys.
yeah.
We're just going to have one after another all day of seeing if some of these younger upstart programs can
Yeah,
put a dent in some guys that have been around for a while.
yeah, that's really what's on our page. I mean, starting at the top with Notre Dame Navy. By rule, Notre Dame should take care of business. But
Yeah.
13.5, I can tell you, I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was like 7. They won't cover this. Um, it's just not going to happen, right? They're not going to go. This goes all the way back to the Roger Staubach days when he was winning the Heisman at Navy. It's just not going to happen. And by the way, in case anybody's curious, I am a Notre Dame fan through and through, but I also have, I've got my Tim Brown Heisman autograph mini helmet sharing here, but I've got the Roger Staubach
Nice.
in the Navy, right? So I can give you
Right.
the Navy autograph session there. Now it might have something to do with me being a Cowboys fan why I have that, but
Sure.
um, still fun to have those up on the shelf. I'm looking forward to this game, as you can tell.
Yeah, me too. It's always fun when the service academies start getting good and can, give these guys a run for their money. And oh man, we got a shot at two of them to just keep winning.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see. Even, keeping it close
yeah,
should, allow them to win the rest of their games and be in a good position.
absolutely. So Washington, Indiana, you mentioned Indiana a minute ago. They are a big fan this year of just drumming people. I mean, it is just kind of crazy when you look and think about what they've been doing. I wish I had the numbers up in front of me, and I'm going to look for them. Give me your
What are
feedback
you looking for?
on Indiana, just kind of the total score spread that they've been beating people by. They've
Yeah,
just
so
been
we're at
drumming people.
24 week one,
Yeah.
74 week two, uh, 29 week three, 38 week four. Let's see, Maryland they beat by 14, Northwestern they beat by 17, and then beat Nebraska by 49.
So
So, not like deeply ranked teams or anything, but going in and just going, I'm going to drum some people. And this is like a real big boy contest here. You
But
got
why do you
Washington
think?
who does not put up with people, um,
Mm,
disrespecting them. And like, this is going to be a fight.
I just can't even imagine how in the world Indiana doesn't just handle business and continue moving forward. Washington was good. They've struggled a tad bit more this year.
Yeah.
Indiana is on the up, just like you said, right? These little guys these kids that are on the uprise. And
Yeah.
this coach at Indiana, he's going to try to beat Washington by 30 just to prove a point. They're
Yeah.
coming to Indiana in front of his home fans. He's going to have these guys fired up. I am all over Indiana on this, and I'm probably on the over as well.
Yeah. That's really the over feels like the lock.
Yeah.
You know, you never know when a young team is going to stumble, but covering 53 and a half,
Even
that
even
that
win.
that just seems killer. I I doubt that they, put the kind of beating they put on Nebraska last week where they only give up 7 points. Um, this seems like a dead nuts over.
Yeah, to me, this is Indiana wins this game 35 to 28.
Sure.
Covers both.
Seems very reasonable.
Yeah, no reason that can't happen. And if Washington wins, it's going to be, or if Washington covers, it's going to be 35-33. You're still going,
Yeah. Yeah, it really feels like it's whether they can keep them below 30 or not.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it feels very, looking back when we get to, Monday going, well, yeah, obviously they put up, 80 points between the two of them.
yeah, yeah, that's definitely an over to me. So, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I had to put it on here because we got Missouri and Alabama and Illinois and Oregon. These are two big games in the SEC and the Big Ten. You've got a very nice upstart Illinois who's having a good season, a very respectable season, handling their business as expected. Missouri, maybe he's played a little bit of a softer schedule, in my opinion, but
Yeah.
Alabama is not the same Alabama. Yet both are being, in my opinion, and I'm just a humble Midwestern boy, but in my opinion, Oregon favored by 21 and a half is a little bit of a slap here. I don't care if Oregon's number one or not. I think Illinois can keep this within 2 touchdowns. Within three, maybe, come on, give me a break. But I think within
It
two,
really feels like it's all going to come down to the defense for the
yeah, I
Midwest
mean,
teams.
if, the problem is Illinois may be a little bit in awe going up to Oregon, seeing, the Nike headquarters, and it is loud up there. When you're in
Yeah.
Eugene, seeing that, I mean, it's no joke up there. It's going to be hard for these guys, but I I want to believe they're going to show up.
At
Same thing.
least they get to play mid-afternoon. They don't have to play in the dark up there.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And then Missouri and Alabama. Mizzou has over the last 2 seasons, this season and last season, proved they can play with these guys, play with bigger schools in the SEC. Um, why are we quite so um, disrespected here? This to me should be Alabama by 6.5. Um, 3 for the home field advantage, 3.5 probably because they are probably a little bit better team. Even though they've got 2 losses, their losses are not good losses. Missouri's loss was a bad loss. That doesn't
At
tell me
least it was against a good team.
bigger. It was well, we think
Yeah,
it.
it was an ass whipping, but like at least ranked opponent
Yeah.
went in there was clearly flat footed,
Oh, clear.
you
Well,
know,
Vanderbilt
and,
might
and
win
and
out.
got
Just saying.
taught a very clean lesson that
Yeah.
like you go into somebody else's house and you're not prepared,
Yeah.
they're going to drum you, and
Yes.
and so hopefully they learn their lesson. This last week, Auburn, a quarterback goes to the hospital for half the game. Like, you hate to see them only win by 4, but like, what are you going to do? Their backup quarterback, um, doesn't. I don't know what he can't throw the football. So
Yeah.
hopefully Brady's healed up and ready to go because
Yeah.
Bama's defense is going to be coming after him,
Yeah.
seeing if they can ding him up again
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely. Another big game on the slate, LSU A&M, right? I mean, this could be potentially a top game for winning one of the SEC titles. I mean, loser is out of the SEC hunt. Winner is right there in the mix. I mean, especially with teams like Georgia and Texas having losses, Tennessee having a loss. You can't take a loss. Now, for me, LSU is not impressed, and A&M apparently does not like people coming into their house.
Seemingly.
So I'm gonna go with A&M in this one, just because I don't see any way LSU goes into A&M and exudes any dominance over them.
Well, and the upside is that, you know, they've got this game to focus on. And then next week, South Carolina, which, could obviously be a hard game, but, Gamecocks aren't exactly, ranked and building up ahead of steam or anything. Whereas LSU gets to deal with this and then stare straight into the face of Bama next week.
Hmm.
So, you kind of get both pieces of that, you go to Texas A&M and you got to turn around and, at least you got Bama coming to you, but you still two killer teams back to back and having to, work that out. So, it does seem like A&M has a cleaner path through this.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I threw it up there, the Cincinnati Colorado game, not necessarily because it's a great game, not because it's Dion or anything, but I always like just showcasing a little bit. There are, in the NFL, we talk about against the spread records, good, bad. These two teams are both 4-2 and 5-2 respectively against the spread.
Yeah.
It's a nice Big 12 matchup. They're both teams that are still fighting for respectability. Their records are not horrible. This would be a fun one to bet on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on that thing. I mean, it's close line, 5.5 for Colorado.
Yeah, I don't have a
I don't know.
deep knowledge when it comes to Cincinnati. I've watched a reasonable amount of Colorado because of how last year turned into a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
But, you know, it seems like the kind of thing that you can propel your team forward. That like whoever comes out of this is a real game. This
yeah,
isn't cupcake, like let's not trip on our own feet here. We're gonna have to go in there and throw some punches. So, you know, if Colorado can cover this, they kind of continue to quietly build themselves in the right direction finally.
yeah, and they need that completely. I mean they're 5-2. Continuing to move in the right direction. People continue to say, they're not there. I don't know. It's an interesting follow for me more than anything. So I thought I'd
Yeah,
share that with the group. There's all kind of
I
storylines.
love it.
Could have talked about Texas and Vanderbilt. There's another great line we could have talked about. I mean, holy cow. We didn't even bring up the fact that Iowa State, I, I don't even know who the hell they've played this year, but they're 7-0 sitting in the 10 hole. I mean, what is going on? Miami 7-0 sitting in the 6 hole. Penn State 6-0 sitting in the 3 hole. We've got some teams up here that are still undefeated this late in the season that could go undefeated, but that's not necessarily meaning they're one of the best 12.
No, no, with expanding this to 12, they really are going to have to find a way to separate these teams from their records. To a certain extent, you start getting, we're going to find out whether, two losses is the line or if one loss ends up being the line, where you can kind of take these top teams and start going, we're going to eliminate everybody below this, and now let's actually look at some of this strength of schedule for who you played and what they were when you played them, because we might get to the end here and have a reasonable number of teams undefeated.
I I
You
think
know,
I think Brandon, you bring up a really good point, and it heeds some attention. What they were when they played them, and I think
yeah,
it's impactful for college football. In the NFL, they're pros. Um, they're getting paid a lot, and they're the top of their sport. Can they have little details impact them? Coaching changes, traveling across the country. Yes, but these college kids, man, they can go on a slump and just be bad. So, did you play Notre Dame when they were 6-1 and hot, or did you catch Notre Dame when they were 6-4 and on the way down? Uh,
yeah.
it's such a huge difference, and so yes, strength of schedule is important, but also when you caught them, and that's going to be an important piece of the algorithm.
Yeah, they're going to have to take into account, injuries and, teams kind of falling. And take into account that some of these teams are falling because they're getting worked by other top teams.
Yes.
You beat Bama and you go, Bama's falling off. You're like, well, sure, a little bit. They'll let Vanderbilt catch them flat-footed. But then, like, other than that, like, getting beat by Georgia, like, what are you going to do with that? Or getting beat by Tennessee, or Texas A&M, or you have these other teams, and you go, it's a bunch of top teams
Beating
whipping each
up on
other.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be able to look at it and go, did they lose because they weren't prepared, or because somebody was injured, or did they go out there and win head to head and just couldn't get it done?
Yeah. Well,
You know.
and did your resume have one of these top teams on it? And some of them don't.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got. It's getting more interesting every week. I'm looking forward to seeing how this week plays out. Go Notre Dame, but if Navy won, it would be interesting for sure. It would shake up the top 12.
All these service academies. I'm gonna be
Oh,
sitting around making sure they're on the floor box this week.
oh, guys, good luck with your picks. I'm Nate. He's Brandon.
Good luck, guys.